you hear in your head repeatedly.
We can hear that, Jeanette. Anyways, welcome everyone.
I hear it in my sleep
kitchen.
now, Jay.
I know, and I gotta find the button to pull the screen on. Anyways, welcome everyone to Cisco's Virtual Kitchen. We got a great show today. We are back live, Foodies and Cars with Chef Jeannette. And Chef Jeannette, or Jeannette.
Yes.
Did I call you Chef Jeannette? Did people say that? No, I've never said that before. Anyways,
you absolutely have said that before. You
have
absolutely have said that before, yes.
Anyway,
it's all good.
Can you induce? Can you induce?
This is all starting off wrong, Jay. It's starting
Who's
off
the
wrong.
chef in shotgun?
Not what I signed up for.
Who's the owner in the shotgun seat?
So my passenger today, Jay, is Chef Adam Dolly. He is, now I want to say this right, Chula Taberna Mexicana.
You got it.
There you go.
Chula Taberna Mexicana?
Yes. Yes. Amazing Mexican restaurant on Gerrard in Toronto. And I actually went for lunch today. Adam and I go way back, but ironically, that's the first time we've actually met in person today.
Yes, it is.
Really?
But we have been talking, collaborating for years.
Pen pals.
Yes. It's a new version of Pen Pals. Yeah. And yeah, so today, we had a great chat and got to actually, be people like we're live and in person, Jay.
Really?
It's awesome.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So Adam is a chef by trade. So we got all the expertise here. He's owner of the restaurant and chef by trade. So we got expertise on all levels today.
That's really cool. Really cool. Well, we talked a little bit just before we got on the show, everyone. We're talking about food inflation for the month of January and February. And really, it is kind of ugly out there, and different things are happening out in the industry. Chef, do you want to just talk a little bit as you cruise around before Jeannette puts you to work, which is, I always say, the best part of the show. But what are some of the things that you're doing right now to maintain cost, and some of the practices you're out there that you recommend other restaurants are doing, should do, or should consider if they're not doing that already?
Give away your secrets, Adam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, give a couple tips.
We all help each other, or at least we
Exactly.
Yeah.
We help.
I think the number one thing you have to do first is figure out your cost of goods. You have to know where you stand, what you're paying, and how is that affecting your bottom line. Because from that's what's going to dictate the changes you need to make. You have a bunch of different options and ways to combat the inflation and rising prices. But first, you have to know where you stand to know what you're combating.
Now, how long does that take? Most restaurants nowadays, is that a lot of work, or is it something you get?
If you've never done it, you're in for a treat. It will take you a bit. You'll just be like, "Oh, I think it costs this much." But if you're going to do it accurately, you have to know yields. Just because I buy in this piece of meat doesn't mean it weighs this much after it's cooked, and that I get to use all of it. So you have to know yields and all of that, and break that into everything. Now you're not going to go out there and do it with just a pen and paper. I use a software program, but I still have to know all my calculations, weights, prices, plug it all in, and then you're able to kind of manipulate it at that point, going, if price gets to this, what does it cost me? Or what do I need to sell this at to get X cost percentage? But definitely having a program is going to be way more accurate and put you ahead of the game than just eyeballing it or thinking
pen and paper.
Exactly.
Gone are the days that it
doesn't
was
work anymore?
No.
The napkin?
Maybe for a special, you've got 10 minutes to put a price on it, and you want to make something off of it, and you only have to do it for one dish, so be it. But I wouldn't recommend doing your whole menu on it.
No, I agree. So I have a question here for you. You mentioned weights and stuff like that. When you say weights and you check your weights on products, is that something that people should do? Because I just recommended that the other day. Is it something that you do? Can you talk more about that, Chef?
Just in weights in general. So when you should know how you're purchasing things, right? Mm-hmm. I used to have this chef that used to do inventory, and he thought when he did inventory that, 3 fish, he would buy, 3 small fish because that gave him more than buying 1 big fish. But didn't realize it's price per pound. So weight plays the factor in it. And
Yeah.
actually 3, you're probably losing more because you have 3 heads rather than 1 head, 1 tail. So those are weights. Other things you want to watch with your weights are when your products are getting dropped off. Do they match your invoices? You know, if I'm being charged for 25 kilos, did I receive 25 kilos? So, you know, hopefully, you know, the people that you're buying from aren't doing that and it's accurate, and there could be honest mistakes, but it's definitely something that you're going to want to look into every once in a while.
Do you remember way
Spot
back
check.
when, well, we used to do the broccoli and ice.
Yeah.
Remember
Oh,
way
yeah.
back? Yeah. Hey?
Yeah, broccoli on ice, fish on ice too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fish
Yeah,
full of ice on
brilliant.
the belly. Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, it's been a while
Years
since I've seen
probably
that one.
worked. How
Yeah.
long that was until someone went, wait a minute. Let's take that ice out. And
Hold on. Yeah.
Hold on.
That's the most expensive ice cube I've ever bought.
So, Chef, can you also share with us, because this is just, first of all, thank you again for giving us much time today, because we talk a lot about this at our company and what we do to help our customers and industry out. A lot of these things, but we hear a lot of the time, not from people like yourselves that are living and breathing this. Do you deal with, what do you do with like over portioning? Do you see that happening anymore? Obviously not in your place, because I feel you've got it hampered down. But other locations.
Yeah, so overportioning is definitely something you want to control, right? And the best way to do it is to just put proper scoops and measurements. So one, you know, if it needs to be a 4-ounce portion, find a vessel that holds 4 ounces and that it's level at the top. It's not mounted. And you have to create that structure for your staff and understanding for them. But yeah, just of grabbing handfuls, not only does it create over portioning, but inconsistency for your customer. Like I came one week and it was this big and now it's only this big. And that's the last thing you want. You need that consistency, 1 for your bottom line, 2 for your customer. So yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, or when you're dining, you both have the same meal and they get more fries than you.
I hate that. Totally. Especially when my kids get more fries than me.
Exactly. You're like,
Oh, you steal those fries though.
exactly. And you start sneaking them, and
Yeah, but then people look at you from the other table, right? They're like, that guy's eating all his kids' food.
Hey, Chef, I have another question here. And I don't know, I saw this recently in an article about people stealing groceries at grocery stores.
So,
Is
yeah, I
this
saw that the
theft?
other day, too.
Yeah, did you see that too?
Yeah.
Is theft increasing, or is it something that people, can you talk a little bit about within regards to our industry? Is this happening still? Is this
We just talked about this, funnily. Yeah.
So we did talk about this. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. That article came as a bit of a surprise to me because I don't know if rising costs of groceries are making people steal, but it makes sense. Like the less money I have, I still need to eat. So it might force more people to do it. The conversation we were talking about is my restaurant actually got robbed twice in 2 days back to back. Yeah, broken into.
Serious?
And yeah. And it was funny where we were able to I'm sitting there looking at the video footage. And I'm like, wow, that person really knew how to walk through my restaurant with no lights on really well. And then I was like, wow,
no,
your staff, you know your way around this.
Yeah.
So it was easy to find out who it was after that. And yeah, it happens.
Wow. Well, now, is there, like, do people, I'm just blown away by that, first of all, that you have that happen. Living in a big city, eh?
Yeah.
That's what happens in a big city, people. So, so as we see more and more, and surprisingly, there's some statistics coming out lately about the amount of restaurants that opened last year in 2022, and we're looking again, possibly a lot of restaurants opening in 2023. For a lot of these people that are starting in the industry, we got other crazy people like ourselves that are starting in the industry. What is this 1 or 2 things that you give them advice on dealing with today's industry as they walk into it? Chef, that's a good question.
Yeah. The thing I fear most for people that are walking into the industry is that they've never been into it. I don't walk into a courtroom and expect to win a case and being a lawyer. So if it's something that you really want to do, go work at it first.
Yeah.
Whether it be a server, a bartender, or a kitchen. And if you want to own the business, make sure you worked in all 3 of those places.
Yes. Please.
Why our failure rate is so huge is that people cook at home and they're like, everyone loves my food. I bet you I could sell this to the masses and be successful. And there's a lot to it, a lot more to it than that.
Now, Adam, you cook a really good pie. Can you go and should open a pie shop?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
You had that line before?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think the average person knows, Jay, how much it takes to run a restaurant and all the intricacies that are involved in it. And the 1/3 rule doesn't work anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so it's hard to make that balance work and make it profitable. You really have to love it. You've got to love it.
Yeah, you have to love it, and you have to be in it for the grind and the commitment. It can't be a part-time kind of leisure activity. Like, you've got to live and breathe it. But then once you're in it and this is what you want to do, you have to know your costs. You have to know, break down that P&L. I need to sell this many sandwiches a day to make X, to pay the rent, to pay the staff, and all of that. Because then once you figure out that business plan, do I have something that I can actually sell and make money off of?
Now, in the business today, Chef, what would be something you'd tell restaurateurs, people out there that maybe have that niche, they got to get into the industry? What's something that you would say avoid from your experience?
Something to avoid.
Like
I've been in it since I was 13, so I'm 25 years into the industry now, and I've done it all. But what you want to avoid is like, as in just starting off and getting into the industry, is work for someone that's successful. That, the place is busy, you're going to learn, so you can, get a skill set and take that somewhere else. I'm not saying if you want to become a bartender, you probably shouldn't go to the local dive bar that sells nothing but
rum and coke
and stuff like that, right? Like, if you want to learn how to be a chef or make cocktails, you're going to want to go somewhere where you're going to educate yourself and actually learn a skill set that you can then carry on with you.
That's good advice. It's good advice. And I'm assuming that's what happened with you as well, Chef. You have to work under some big chefs.
Yeah, well, it's funny enough, I did my apprenticeship under who was currently, we worked together for 15 years, but I did my apprenticeship underneath him, and then, we did multiple business together and worked together for the next 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's a different route. Not a lot of people do that, but that was the route I took.
So I think sometimes when you get sometimes you learn what to do and sometimes you learn what not to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a little of both in my history. So
but from the failures
is
where you're going to learn the most.
Let's say that again.
I said you did too, Jeanette.
I did. Yeah, I mean, I learned it from the ground up, right? Every position, I did it with a chain, and you ran into people that were amazing at what they do, and you learned from them, and you were able to absorb that. And then there were others that you walked away and said, I'm never, ever going to do that. And as long as you learn something along the way, I think you're still getting something out of it.
I totally agree.
And what not to do is just as valuable as what to do.
You know what?
It's not even more valuable.
You know what? I think it's more valuable because I learned from the restaurant I drove into the ground more than I did working for successful franchises.
Yeah.
Right? You learn so much of the things that you didn't do. So anyways, we can get into my horror stories one day. You'll have to drive out here, Jeanette. That's a road trip. That's not driving to Toronto.
We'll pick Adam and I'll hop on a flight and come visit.
So I want to just come back into a little bit around because inflation right now obviously is a hot topic on everything. The one thing that we've seen really grow quite significantly through COVID, it was almost like someone planned it for them, was this whole third-party delivery and takeout.
Yeah.
What's your take on this right now as a successful operator? Is this a long trip?
No, I could talk about this for minutes, days, and hours, whatever you want.
Let's go for a couple minutes on this one.
Yeah. So the number one thing for anybody in this business is it cannot be your business. It has to be the gravy on top of it. If you are going to run this as your primary source of sales, you're going to fail. The numbers just won't add up. And I use this example for everybody of and again, this is just rough. Let's say we sell hot dogs and it's, $1 we sell hot dogs for. Well, I have food cost of 30%. I have labor of 30%, commission of 30%. Well, we're at 90%. I haven't paid heat, hydro, gas, insurance, or anything. It's not a sustainable business. where it becomes profitable, the best way is if I can run everything and not increase labor. So i.e. I don't have to add bodies to the kitchen to add on the incremental sales that I'm already doing in-house, plus the third party deliveries. And that being said, because then I'm only paying, the gas is on, the rent's already on, the hydro's on, body's already there, so I'm only paying food cost commission. Well, now it comes at a 40% profitability to me. But the moment I have to start adding labor to that or additional costs, it becomes a bit of a wash. So you have to watch that and toe that line and really know your numbers there. But if you start offering it and then people don't come through your doors anymore because of the convenience factor, you're in a lot of trouble.
You're in trouble if you don't have balance.
I think ghost kitchens have seen that right now, where they just primarily just tried to live off of that model.
Yeah, it's
tough.
You're not going to put out the quality of food that you need to be able to do the volume for what you can pay for labor when you have that commission in there. Yeah. So it's not sustainable.
Chicken fingers in a takeout container and wings are not the same as sitting in the
and well, let's also not forget you have to add container costs on all of this now.
Exactly.
You didn't have before.
Costs, which is like, let alone inflation alone, that is just going up and up on its own without inflation.
Well, when you add in the plastic span on top of it all, now all those containers are even more expensive than they were. Yeah, exactly. And highly in demand. Yep. In demand,
right? Exactly. So Jeannette, do you want to get into now the surprise for Adam on what we this is the second part of the show, Adam.
I'm
but you have to be able to talk and do, because Jay's still going to throw questions at you.
Let's throw questions at
you. So this is why I said you got to come up with a new name before the end of the show, but we are making taco in a jar.
Taco in a jar.
Taco in a jar. Taco in a jar. Okay. So you have, it could be jarrito, but I was thinking jarrito. No. In the, I told you it's not my name. It's got to be yours. In the glove compartment, you have some jars, some utensils, some claws. Okay. You can pick the small jar, the big jar. Yeah.
My jar.
Yeah. And you've got hot beef on the side. So that is pulled beef that we have in a little crock pot that you can't see right now, but it's on the dash, rattling away. And then center console's got all your other toppings here. Right. So you've got cheese. You've got coleslaw. You've got guac, and you've got
rob my restaurant
refried beans. Well, actually, I even gave you some barbecue sauce. And I had to get inspired, right? So you can layer. The whole idea is to layer this, and really, if you can execute it in the car, anybody can do it in a restaurant. That's my theory. Okay. Right. So if you want to layer this, you've got everything here.
Cost it?
No, I will take care of that part later. But you can cost it if you want to throw it together. By all means.
Thinking like
well, I'm trying to tie it all in. Right?
Then let's cost it. Do it. Go for it.
So, Chef, while you're making that, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here. So, tell us more about your restaurant. Tell us a little bit more. What's it all about? Give it in a nutshell. We're not talking.
So, we're a Mexican restaurant. I like to consider us kind of modern Mexican, if you will, and I'll explain kind of what my vision behind that is, or my thought process is. We're not, traditional classic Mexican, and we're not like fusion Mexican. I like to say we like to take traditional dishes and put a twist on them, or take Mexican ingredients such as like avocados or certain spices and put a North American twist to those. So that's where I kind of say the modern side of it. We've had the location for 5 years now. I've been there. Great patio, backyard patio, rooftop patio. It's kind of a destination spot in the summertime, that's for sure.
He just realized he needs to multitask.
Yeah, I just realized.
I know, hey? Isn't that cool?
All right.
So one of the things you offer, Chef, is tequila flights, is that right?
That is correct.
Can you tell us more about that as well a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, Different families of tequila. So, you know, you have like your Blanco, your Reposado, your Añejo. So you can pick a particular brand and have each kind of aging process behind each one of those, and have, you know, a sample taste of each one. And then we garnish it with like different like things like oranges and, you know, little spices and stuff like that to kind of enhance the flavor.
He's got the hot crock pot in his lap here right now.
So Adam, has tequila kind of taken off lately? I've seen really more and more of it.
Yeah, and you can just see alone by how many every celebrity has one right now.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, I think I just brought in Kylie Jenner's yesterday, and just into Ontario, the Rock's Terramana, because he only had a Blanco out before, and now we have his Reposado, which we just started carrying the other day too.
No way.
So everyone's got it. It is the fastest growing spirit out there. It is actually not just because I have a Mexican restaurant. I'm sure that plays some sort of influence, but it is my favorite spirit. The problem with it is that the plants that they use for tequila take 8 to 12 years to grow. So if the demand gets too high, they won't keep up the growing.
Oh, wow.
So therefore, it's something we're going to have to be mindful of, because you could watch a really skyrocket price if the oh my gosh, if the
Wait. What was that, Jeannette?
Hold on, I gotta move
that's not me. That's the sauce. I know it's just so everywhere.
We rate you
He's
on your
got stuff
quality.
spread out over here. Yeah.
Yeah. Plate presentation in a jar is important.
We need color here before. We can't go brown on brown, because that won't.
So one of the things that Jeannette listed here, Chef, was that you do pig roast as well?
Pardon me?
You do pig roast?
Funny enough, you must have been going back. We used to do a pig roast. Out on the backyard barbecue, we used to do like an actual spit roast, full pig out there. Do you know what? I think it offended more people than it actually helped. So people would come in and be like, "Oh, I'm not hungry anymore." So we did that for about two summers. And then we realized the amount that we were selling to probably the amount of people that were like thrown off by it, it was kind of a lost leader. So we just instead put in another fireplace in that spot instead. People seem to enjoy that a little bit more. But that's the thing of where we talked about, if you don't fail or try things, you'll never know, right?
Yeah.
So,
Do you change your menu quite frequently, Chef?
yeah, quite often. So at least twice a year. We're actually in the middle of doing a menu change right now. We're going to do a full not rebrand, but a full menu change, keeping some classics, but having a slight variation, all of them, within the next 2 weeks. So it should launch about the first week of February.
Oh, cool. Is that a long procedure? Because a lot of people think that that's pretty easy to do. It's pretty tedious.
Well, it all depends. Like for us, it's ongoing, right? So all year long is I'm working, or over those 6 months periods, we're working towards new menus. So that's where we use our features and our specials. I don't just sell something or put it on my menu because, I think it'll be a good idea. I test it out amongst, my customers and everything like that, doing it as a feature for the weekend to see, hey, what was the feedback? Did it sell? Can the kitchen execute it when it's busy? Answer all those questions. And then you have the data and information to go, hey, that's a good idea. That's got to go on the next menu.
Have you had any bombs? Like just you thought it was going to be a winner.
Pig roast.
And then it was just other than the pig roast. Have you had a bomb?
Are we talking about just restaurants or just dishes?
No, just a dish.
I've done it all.
What was one of those dishes you were just like, I swear it was going to be a winner, but it just...
All of the above. Actually, you know what? One was 2 weeks ago. I did a Mexican shrimp cocktail, which I totally thought it's great, it's easy, it's affordable, it's cheap. It looked beautiful. Did kind of a spicy tequila marinated shrimp. Did it with a mango salsa, so you had the heat, the sweet. Looked fantastic. Meh, didn't really sell that many. So I was like, wow, I thought that'd be a winner for sure. I'm slightly biased. I love shrimp, right? So
and tequila.
Now, do you have any of those stories the other way that were you thought it wasn't going to work, but it was just
So we do a churros. We do a churro Sunday, which we brought it over here. Did it for a Mexican restaurant that we had about 8 years ago, and it was just bananas. It was crazy. Like we didn't anticipate the volume and the prep and the procedure to go behind it all, and it just skyrocketed. So that's kind of one, and it's done so well that it's carried to each location. Don't tell it. How many people are going to see this at home Mexican restaurants?
Giving away your secrets again.
Yeah, right?
I have to say my car's still clean. I'm just gonna note that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
The
still clean.
cup holder's helping for sure.
How are we doing there? How are you doing?
I'm almost there. I'm almost to
It's
the
almost
top.
there.
It's almost there to the top.
Almost there.
I'm glad I took the small jar.
So, Jeanette, what was the products that Chef has been using here? You said they were from Cisco.
So yeah, the core product, the core protein in this taco is a new Cisco brand, block and barrel pulled beef, brand new. So it was a good opportunity to get it out there. He's getting out the little crock pot again.
It smells fantastic. It really does.
So it was, yeah. I always try to bring out something that at least fits in the wheelhouse of the chef, or so I think it does. And so I thought I'm gonna make a taco, but tacos are kind of complicated in the car. So
Oh right, so stuffing all this into a jar isn't.
You gotta.
Like a plate or a bowl would be a lot easier than a 1.5 inch diameter jar.
oh come on now.
Yeah, she's the smallest jars you could find.
Yeah.
So it's
Now-
all about. He's almost there. It's almost
Now,
done.
if you look at that, let's just talk about the jar for a second, because I think there's something there. That'd be great for portion control, hey Chef? Is creating things with jars.
Yeah,
and
for sure. Like something exactly like that. Again, if it's going to be on the line, you don't want the glass. But again, having that vessel where it's all laid out, it's measured. I know that that's 250 milliliters. So whatever it is, dump it in. It's consistent. The thing where people avoid the portioning and stuff is because, oh, it's another prep item. Oh, it's another add to labor. So you have to do that math of, is it what's potentially the more lost leader, adding that labor for the consistency and to not have the over portioning, or vice versa, where it's something that they can just grab, handle, and go. So
What's your take on
there's a
portioning?
plus and minus to each.
What's your take on portioning fries?
When potatoes used to cost nothing, who cared? But now for sure. I wouldn't do it as in like weighing them and bagging each one, but to having that scoop that is consistent. And the one I used to always like was like an ice well scoop, like the small bartender size one. I felt that was perfect for a side. And if it was just a big plate of fries, it was 2 of them. So
Those are the
finding
small
like
people with small hands?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the other thing. It's like
Your
when
handful?
you're training
Yeah.
someone, it's like it's 1.5 of your hands, but it's only 1 of your hands.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way when you're training.
I think from a portioning perspective, Jay, I think it comes down to the skill level of your staff.
Yeah, but you have to
Right?
also. It does, but your skill level amongst once you get 12 people is varying no matter what.
Yeah.
They're never all going to have the same skill set, even as much training you put into them. So the best answer is take out as much room for error.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
That's fair.
That's really what it boils down to.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
Yeah, I've
That's
learned
a
that
good
just
shirt.
working through yeah, right. This is a good shirt.
It's a good shirt, man.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, there's another business
Okay.
we're on to.
Name a taco that on your new menu.
Yeah.
There's a new name for a
Take the
taco.
room for error,
Yeah. Right. Show them what you made, because I think you're good.
Yep.
I think you're
All
good.
right.
You got it.
So I
got
did
it.
look now that I looked at it. So it's the jar in a bowl, or the bowl in a jar. The
Taco in a jar.
taco in a jar. But there's no shell, so I think it's more of like a bowl. If you had a little rice in there.
It could be a
Oh,
little
yeah.
rice in there. It could be a little
And
taco.
that's
Yeah.
trending right now because everybody's all about the bowls.
I would have
So,
needed a second crock pot.
Yeah, totally.
This kicks it up to a new notch, though. It's like you can do a
Yes.
flight of these.
Yeah, flight of them.
So, but I figure, like I said, if we can execute it in the car, then anybody can do it. Get cloths in there if you want one.
You're downgrading my efforts.
So not everyone can do it. Adam has executed it beautifully.
100%.
Right? Look at those layers. Looks beautiful.
Colorful, no
Yeah.
brown on brown. Cheese is
No.
being melted at the bottom
It's
from the
warm. I
Is
love
that
it.
warm? It's warm, too.
Yeah, it's warm. Yeah. Right?
You can
So
taste
digging
it
with
out
the
if you
fork.
like. Yeah,
You can. You got forks in there.
The forks are in there.
I
You
always
gotta
bring
get-
a fork.
We gotta
You gotta
check
get
the quality of
bibs.
this beef, right?
You You gotta get bibs for the car.
Okay. So I got a little bit of everything, which is nice. I didn't have to dive in. Yeah, cheese, beef,
Is
and
that seasoned? The beef seasoned?
It's very mild seasoning, so that way you can take it and personalize it any way you want to make it work.
You can talk on a car.
Surprised.
I didn't make any of the ingredients. I just put them together. It is really good, though.
See, now if he's got a menu change in 2 weeks. If so far,
I have to test it first. I have to put it out to the masses.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. You can play with this now.
You know what? You look at this. You can look at Taco Bell, those places, right? And say, hey, you know what? You got new menu items. Get a clear cup, toss out like a throwaway or a disposable cup. And they could do these kind of things. Talking about taco in a cup.
Yeah, but you won't be able to see through the cardboard because it has.
No, I'm talking about the clear cup. It's like a clear one.
You'd have to go clear biodegradable cup.
There you go.
It'll take the heat.
Exactly. Your hands again. Get a sleeve for your taco in a cup.
Or it comes with a sticker on the side of what it would look like.
There you go. A picture of what it would look like.
Well, the bowls are too big when you're. Never mind. I won't say when you're driving. Because you're driving and eating. But anyways, no comment there. Anyways, well, thank you so much, Chef. And I just blown away. First of all, your insights on inflation, your ideas, your sharing some tips and tricks of the industry. It's huge. And Jeannette, thank you again for grabbing someone on the street and convincing them to go with you.
Taking someone for a ride. No, that still doesn't sound good. No.
I gotta get a tagline. Foodies and cars, just grabbing anyone and making them fun.
Yeah. Just, hey, strangers on the street.
Hey, come play with my meat in my car.
Exactly.
No!
There you go.
It worked.
That's a great way to wrap up today's show.
Yes. Safer.
Awesome.
Shut it down. Nice.
Well, thanks again for both of you. Safe travels again. Enjoy your taco. And nice meeting you as well. And everyone else, we're back again later tomorrow with another show on the SVK Network. So all the best. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Bye, Jay. Thanks.
See you later.